They will come a day when the criminals sit in the defendant seats of a courtroom, and we will bear witnesses to justice being served. In our dreams, there will come a day when every fragment of the truth about what happened is revealed. In our dream, the murders will be punished. Only then the wounds of our people will begin to heal. Until that day, we will never forget, nor shall we ever forgive.
ما مادران پرواز PS752 روبروی فراموشی ایستاده‌ایم. هر روز با خود تکرار می‌کنیم. در 8 ژانویه 2020 موشک‌ها شلیک شدند. هر روز با خود تکرار می‌کنیم پاره تنمان در آن هواپیما بود. 5 سال گذشت. جامه‌ها سیاه شدند و موها سپید، اما ما فراموش نکردیم. در چهارراه فصول، در گذر سالیان، در صدای غرش هر هواپیمایی که از آسمان می‌گذرد، ما با تصویر قاب گرفته در دستانمان روبروی فراموشی ایستاده‌ایم. انسان مبتلا به فراموشی است. اما اگر فراموش کنیم آنها دوباره جنایت می‌کنند. اگر فراموش کنیم آنها دوباره جان بیگناهی را می‌ستانند. اگر فراموش کنیم حقیقت نیز فراموش می‌شود و عدالت جز کلمه‌ای دهان پر کن برای بزک کردن چهره دیکتاتورها نخواهد بود. اگر فراموش کنیم آنها به جوانی، به زیبایی، به زن، به زندگی، به آزادی دوباره شلیک می‌کنند. ما روبروی فراموشی ایستاده‌ایم و مبارزه ما با فراموشی ابدی است. ما مادران پرواز PS752 روبروی بخشش ایستاده‌ایم. برای ما امکان عدالتی نبوده است. برای ما روز دادگاهی مقدر نبوده است. آنچه تا امروز از عاملین و عاملین جنایت دیده‌ایم دروغ بوده است و خاک پاشیدن بر حقیقت. سیاه رنگ عدالت آنهاست و سپید رنگ عدالت ما. بخششی در کار نیست. ما به سوی فرزندان زیبای ایران نشسته ایم و تا امکان عدالت برای تمام کسانی که به ظلم کشته شدند فراهم نشود از بخشش سخن نخواهیم گفت. در رویای ما روزی جنایتکاران بر صندلی متهمین دادگاه می نشینند و ما ناظران اجرای عدالت خواهیم بود. در رویای ما روزی تمام حقیقت ذره ذره آنچه رخ داده است آشکار خواهد شد. در رویای ما قاتلین مجازات می شوند و زخم‌های مردمان ما التیام می یابد. تا آن روز نه فراموش می کنیم و نه می بخشیم. تا آن روز نه فراموش می کنیم.
Good evening, Mr. Bashwala. Thank you very much for your help. Prime Minister, Mr. Goodell, MP Landsman and Roberts, my colleague MPP Daisy Y, Your Worship, David West, and all members of council, all the dignitaries, Ambassador Kobala, Councillor General Nikolenko, my colleagues from all levels of government, community leaders, friends, and most importantly, families. I really wish that we were meeting here today under different circumstances. I know that your pain and the grief of the loss of your families has not been easy, and it has not been easy over time. And although 5 years have passed, I cannot imagine what these years have been like. This time does not ease the warmth of the light, their presence, the echoes of their laughters, or their dreams that they carry with them. And that's why it's imperative that we ensure that their memories live on. As the renowned Iranian poet once said, hardship may dishearten at first, but every hardship passes. All despair is followed by hope, and all darkness is followed by sunshine. For over 4 decades, the Iranian people have suffered under a regime that seeks to silence their voices and suppress their dreams. Yet the spirit of their freedom cannot be contained. Their pursuit of freedom is not just a matter of principle. It's a profound aspiration rooted in their desire for liberty and dignity. We have seen the efforts from the brave women and men who continue to fight for their rights, the youth who risk everything to call for change, and the resilient families of the victims of Flight PS752. In the face of such unimaginable loss, these families have become advocates for justice, voices for accountability, and have become beacons of hope. I want to once again call on my colleagues from all levels of government to continue to be a loud voice for the victims and their loved ones, and by committing to getting the justice and the truth that they seek and deserve. To Mr. Albor Sadevi, Mr. Dushanas, Dr. Ismailia, my friend Barak Payami, the entire families of victims of PS752, the volunteers, and everyone who has dedicated their efforts to seeking justice. I want to express my deepest sympathies, but I also want to offer my profound gratitude for your resolve and for your commitment for justice. I thank you for your devotion to seeking justice for every family affected by this tragedy. I just want to thank Mayor David West for your dedication and for supporting the families through the placement of a permanent memorial in our city to honor the victims, which you will hear from soon. And as I heard earlier, I want to thank also the Prime Minister, who has already echoed his support for this initiative, and I thank you for that. To the people of Ukraine and families who lost loved ones, this loss is a painful reminder of the risks faced by your citizens in global conflicts. And to the friends and families of the crew, we offer our deepest sympathies. To the courageous Iranian men and women who are fighting for a democratic future in Iran, we salute you. Your fortitude and bravery is inspirational. But I want you to know that as you continue to fight for justice, we stand with you. And we want you to know that we stand with you every step of the way. Because history teaches us that when we stand together in pursuit of justice, freedom is inevitable. But friends, let me be clear. The fight for a free and democratic Iran will only be achieved when this evil terrorist regime ceases to exist. And that time And that time, my friends, is now. We must support the Iranian people in their pursuit of justice and freedom. And I join the families in echoing. Let us never forget, and let us never forgive them. Thank you so much.
And every year going forward for as long as it takes to truly get justice. We're here on behalf of Pierre Polyev and the team to mark 5 years since the cold-blooded murders of the downing of Flight PS752. Devastation that murdered 85 of our own Canadians amongst the 176 innocent souls, shattering the lives of families and of our community right here in Richmond Hill and beyond. And although years have passed, the grief remains, for we remember the lives so callously taken that day at the hands of the murderous regime. And although it's been half a decade since that morning, we still don't have answers, accountability, or justice for what happened. And we have still had no independent investigation. We have had no meaningful sanctions, almost no consequences for those who are part of this brutal dictatorship already living in our midst, as the regime continues to brutalize its own citizens while threatening free and independent nations, arming their proxies, and continuing to take the lives of innocent civilians. And I know that every time the families and the association see that it re-victimizes the trauma that you have faced all of these years. They are allowed to carry out their terrorist activities here in Canada and even here in our community, using our country as a safe haven, a recruitment base, and a place to harass and intimidate each and every one of the victims. The money laundering and the slap in the face that are the children of senior regime operatives going to school in this country's best universities with complete impunity. That must stop, and you are a big reason why that will stop. This is, of course, on top of being allowed to stay in power in Iran, subjugating an entire freedom-seeking movement led by the brave young women who inspire hope and of a freedom-loving world, cheering them on. We've seen that for years now. They subjugate them to a life of second-class citizenry, infringing on the fundamental rights and freedoms and threatening peace and democracy in the Middle East and, frankly, all over the world. In the past 5 years, I have had the honor of meeting many of the Flight 752 families, even luckier to call some of them true friends, many whom are here today, alongside many in this community who want justice from the victims and who ultimately want to see a free Iran. Your advocacy and your determination are inspiring, and I am convinced that it will happen in our lifetime. But we can't ignore the fact that demands have been ignored by people who have the ability to do something about it. We have many allies when it's easy to give a speech or record a video or give platitudes, but when the time comes to act, we hear excuses. And while we have long proposed laws to outright ban the IRGC and actually enforce that ban, secure our borders, levy more sanctions, and secure our communities here, I think the present government has refused to act, and they have allowed them to flourish here in Canada and in our community. And I must say that the victims of Flight 752 deserve better than this. The families, the association deserve better than this. Our country deserves better than this, and you deserve better than this. And today, Conservatives, Anna and I, on behalf of Pierre, reconfirm our commitment to defund and dismantle the Iranian regime's terrorist network. We will expose and expel those working for foreign dictatorships and make our country safe for all Canadians. Because of you, because of this association, because of the work that you do day in and day out, there is a movement building in this country, a movement of law and order, peace and security, freedom and justice, and you are at the forefront of that movement. And by remaining united and standing together, we will not only honor the memories of the victims of Flight 752, but also achieve meaningful, better change for Canada. And as long as we continue to do this, as long as we never give up the fight, we will never forget each and every one of those victims, unjustly and criminally murdered. As you observe this solemn anniversary, we stand with you, and we will always fight for you, for the memories of all of the lost brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, aunts and uncles, friends, and the hardest of all, as we saw in the mothers on stage, the sons and daughters, now and as Canada's next government. Thank you.
And it's because for us, as never before in our modern history, the word justice, it's much more than just a word. We fight for justice for the brutal Russian invasion. We fight for justice for the memory of victims of PS752. We fight and continue to fight for justice for the victims of MH17. And it is important because without the justice, the world will turn upside down. And the core value which we share and believe in, the value of human lives, is the utmost idea why we put so many efforts for the justice. And 3 years later, today, as it was said, we issued together with Canada, with United Kingdom, with Sweden, the case in ICAO Council, and also in October 16, 2024, our coordination group of the countries filed the joint memorandum to International Court of Justice. Yes, indeed, this fight for justice and the way to justice is not as quick as we would like to be. But from Ukrainian side, we assure you despite of all the challenges we are living through now, we continue to pursue the fight for justice. And I would like to thank you, the Government of Canada, for helping us on this file and on this path. Because today as we are talking, people continue to die in Ukraine because of Russian missiles, Iranian drones, North Korean troops on the ground who are fighting with our soldiers. As I was on my way to the solemn commemoration, another 13 Ukrainian civilians lost their life by a Russian bombardment of Zaporizhia city. And almost every night I'm calling myself, my parents, to check whether they are all right because of Iranian drones flying over the territory of my country now almost every day. So for us, we're so grateful to Canada for the steadfast support in our fight against brutal dictatorship of the Russian regime, and also by taking the lead and to pursue the case of PS752. We continue to work together and will fight for justice, so that the memory of each and every victim of this tragedy will be remembered, and the justice will be brought to Iran and Iranian regime. Thank you.